Hello and good evening. Welcome to this week's episode of Week in Focus, a show that is actually dedicated to shed a floodlight and also dive deep into the Muslim activities or the Muslim communities events that have actually taken place in the week, in the month, and in the year. Ladies and gentlemen, now more than ever, I'm yours truly, Shadrach Shagaf Kisame. Now tonight, I'm joined on set with fellow journalist, lawyer, and researcher, Hajara Ashaba. Now tonight, we're going to be looking into what is actually on the lips of most Ugandans everywhere in the world, the Afghanistan. Now we're broadcasting live here at the .NET Hub on the Muslim channel, Salama Road, Munyonyo. Now do not go away after the break. We come back, we dive deep. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and also click that bell. In case we upload something, you will be the first to know. Like, share, and comment. We're live and we're coming back. Don't go away. Now, on the 25th of August 2021, on Wednesday, the Foreign Minister JJ Odong came out and said that Uganda is actually ready and it's actually suitable. We are ready. We have the capacity to host over 2,000 refugees. Now, on a plane that landed on Wednesday carrying fleeing Afghanistans that were actually 51 of them. They landed on Wednesday, and most Ugandans had a lot to say about it. Now, with Ashaba, we're going to be discussing, is Uganda the most hospitable country and Rwanda? Don't these guys have fellow Muslims? Let's just start there, even. Because this thing has been actually baffling my head. Don't these guys have Muslim countries like Libya, Morocco, Tunisia? The list is endless. Why Uganda? Why Rwanda?
Well, they are there, but I think it comes down to diplomatic relations at the moment and how receptive the countries are to refugees. For Rwanda, it's questionable, but for Uganda, we know we have over 1.6 million refugees here, different nationalities, including Ethiopians, from a country that is rather stable. But yeah, it really comes down to that diplomatic relations and how receptive the countries are, and the political relations going on between the evacuating countries, which is America and NATO, and Uganda and Rwanda. Okay,
before we even handle Uganda, the US and everything, Rwanda, you say, for anybody watching there, for anyone actually listening and hears that Rwanda has refugees, it's mind-boggling. What do you think? Is there something we do not know? Is there something behind that curtains? For Rwanda, for instance, they have no capacity whatsoever. Why would they choose to meddle into such an affair?
First of all, if you look at the past 10 years from 2010, Rwanda has been trying to work on their public image. They started with shifting from being a francophone country to anglophone. And then if we really look at the novel coronavirus and its effects on the global economy, then countries need to harness their relations. The poorer countries need to harness their relations with countries in the West, based on what they get, what they earn from the given relations, which in this case is going to be aid. Because COVID hasn't stopped. More lockdowns are coming because more waves are coming. And countries that don't have enough resources like Rwanda are going to need external help. And you'd rather be in the good books of countries like the USA, Germany, and the UK.
So is this a way of them finding to get into the good books for aid? It has nothing, it's just business.
With Rwanda, you wouldn't say it's humanitarian. With Uganda, you can say it's humanitarian because we have a refugee of hosting plenty of refugees. But Rwanda that closes her borders to Congo and Burundi, in any case, she's the one.
And Uganda, the Katuna border was a mess, still is a mess.
Well, we wouldn't be running there as refugees at the moment. But Rwanda has before closed their gates to people that needed help. People from North Kivu, that's Congo. People coming from Burundi, because Rwanda always has unstable relations with neighbors. So you cannot say that they are feeling some bit of humanitarian sort of feelings for people that are coming from the Middle East.
Same thing with Uganda. There's always a hidden agenda. Uganda has no capacity because the Honorable JJ Odon came out and is like, oh, we have another capacity of 2,000, which for a person, and maybe someone who is watching there, you would think this is just business. But Uganda and Rwanda aside, what does this mean for the Muslim community?
Well, in as far as Islam is concerned, I would say Islam is a hospitable sect of people. So I would not think that a typical Muslim has an issue with this. That's a Ugandan Muslim. You have Afghans here, you have Muslims that need help. You can offer the help. It's okay, you can go ahead and give the help. But then how much of the sect trouble is this going to come with? Is the Taliban going to come after their people? Because first of all, these are Afghans. Second, these are Afghans that have helped Americans.
Before we actually go into the Afghans and the Taliban's effects for this, as we go for a short break, the entire Muslim community, the optics, the countries that have chosen to give these people asylum are non-Muslim. And there are other Muslims like Libya, Egypt, Tunisia. What does this mean for this kind of community? As we go for a short break.
First of all, if I could speak a little about taking these people to the Maghreb region, if you look at Tunisia and you look at Algeria, you look at Libya, they're having security issues. If you look at Egypt and Fattah Sisi, he's having internal issues to settle back home. So I would actually think of countries like Canada, countries like generally non-Muslim countries, because Muslim countries that are stable would be Saudi Arabia, it would have to be Qatar, would have to be UAE. It's just a handful. And I don't think that at the moment those people actually have an open policy to refugees.
Now, you're making a very important point. It means that the Muslims themselves have to sit down and wash their dirty linen. Because if at all they cannot help the Afghanistans, there's no country, because when you talk about all the countries, there's no country that can come out to help.
But this is not an Islamic issue. When we look at why Saudi cannot open their doors to people that are seeking for refuge, that is not an Islamic issue, it's a political issue.
For Islam, politics and religion are in bed together. But let's go for a short break. When we come back now, we talk about if the Taliban will come to Uganda hunting for us. Now, do not go away. You are still a lovely audience. We're coming back. And welcome back. Now we're still broadcasting live here in Munyonyo on Salama Road at the .NET Hub. I'm actually today taking Hajara's job on the Muslim channel powered by the .NET Broadcasters studio. I put her on the spot. Are the Taliban coming to hit us? I personally am not, you know, Ugandan men were being very pervasive and they were saying, Bajet wazalimu and all that drama, but security-wise, don't you think these guys would want to prove a point and come for their people?
Well, perhaps they could use their allies if they were to. Currently,
do they have allies?
Of course they do.
In Africa?
We have. There is actually no public record that shows that the Taliban and ISIS and Al-Shabaab are allies. But if you look at the genesis of the Taliban, how the movement came to be formed, and the factions that came after that, then all these factions came after the people that were trained as mujahideens in 79. So it wouldn't be so hard for the Taliban, because they are fighting to have an Islamic State, to connect with, say, the ISIS people that are down in Madagascar.
Easy.
Yeah, to connect with Somalia. But then we would have to dwell on the security apparatus of our country. I think, well, we have what is happening in Masaka, but in as far as terrorism...
Are we ready for such a hit? Let's say it happens, God forbid it happens. Is Uganda ready for such a hit?
I would say we are. I would say that currently we have the capacity to detect.
This one is a politician. You're politicking. This one is politicking. Now I am looking at the screen right now, and the Taliban they have guns. This is the kind of government that we are looking at on the screen right now. What does this have to communicate? Will Afghanistan ever be hospitable again? Can someone just go in there maybe for business or something?
No, but, well, I think so. Because, you see, there is a picture of the Taliban that we have. And then there is a picture of the Taliban that is there. The information that we have, we are given by the Western media. Which Western media is against the Taliban? In the papers, because they have been reports...
Hajara, these are fellow Afghanistans running. There's a picture of the plane, if my producer can get it. There's a picture of the plane where they were actually killed in the wheels of the plane. They didn't want the plane to leave them. Is that really Western media?
No, but think of this and put it in a political perspective. Let's use the example of NRM and FDC. So NRM has the power and FDC wants the power. NRM cannot voluntarily give the power. But when FDC captures the power, it does not necessarily mean that the NRM people are going to be comfortable sitting in a country that is now run by the people they have been fighting for the past 36 years.
A 7-year-old girl in Afghanistan right now, what do you think is going on in her brain if she's watching TV and people are with guns?
You know, to be honest, to be genuine, Afghanistan has been at what is going on right now since 1979.
So should that be okay?
42 years.
So should that be okay? Are we saying it's okay?
No, but we cannot demonize the Taliban for what is going to happen right now. We don't even know. NATO and the US have been in Afghanistan since 2001. It has been total chaos. You had 21 years to put the country back to order because you came, fought for 2 months, overthrew a government. The same government came back to fight you as guerrillas from the mountains, and they kept you on your toes for 21 years. We cannot blame the Taliban for what is happening when it's America that messed them up in the first place.
The 7-year-old girl, says Sophia, in Afghanistan right now, does she deserve what's going on?
Well, first of all, you ask yourself what is going on.
What is going on? Paint a picture.
We have people that have been fighting. Okay, imagine this, that America had 35,000 forces in Afghanistan. And then there was 300,000 Afghan soldiers that were trained by Washington. Now you have 75,000 Taliban fighters, and they are fighting. And these ones, the 75,000, win a war against the 38,000.
Did they win, or these guys just left? They took advantage because America left, right?
No, but why did America leave?
Their job was done. Wasn't their job done?
Was it? Because America's job was to come, overthrow the Taliban, and make the country safe.
Stable,
have a government in place that can thwart the people that they call a terrorist government.
80% was done. There's a democratic government.
The
Taliban were on the run.
But the Talibans were never on the run. Even when the Americans were there, the Talibans had several provinces under their own capture. So you cannot say that the Talibans had, because if they had run, Joe Biden announced on August, at the beginning of August, that the troops would start pulling out around August 10th. Now, today is 29th, and Kabul is under Taliban. So what has America...
It was a day later. It was like a day later.
Yes. By 15th August, they had Jalalabad. 2 days later, they had Mazar-e Sharif. 5 days later, they had Kabul. Bloodless, they walked in peacefully. So actually, what was America doing in Afghanistan that in their absence, the government could not stand on its own for 2 weeks? It brings to question what America was doing in Afghanistan. Was it a security issue, or were they making more opium routes?
What does this mean to an ordinary citizen in Afghanistan? Okay, in Uganda here right now, at didnt Hub Studio, I want to understand the citizen in Afghanistan. Whose side are they even? What do we know?
They normally say, they have said before, that ordinary Afghans look at the government, now the former government of Ashraf Ghani and Hamid Karzai, as puppet governments that were put in place by the Americans. Then you look at the Taliban. Do you know who forms the Taliban? Students, tribesmen, traders, Muslim, religious leaders. Those are the people that you have forming the Taliban. So if you were to look at majority support, if you were an Afghan to support a government that is sustained by the US, which destroyed your country to begin with, because they came under the umbrella of fighting the Al-Qaeda. But they found Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, because they were basing solely on the intelligence that had been given to them by the government of Pakistan, which government was threatened by the presence of the Taliban in Afghanistan, because they thought the Taliban can walk over to Pakistan and establish a Taliban-like movement and overthrow them. So you come under the guise.
You wouldn't blame them, they are being careful.
They were being careful. Well, what are you as America? Because we know you as a spying superpower. But now you walk on wrong intel. There is this blog, it's called Wion. It's like an online TV thing. And they were talking about how the America went on the wrong intel. Then midway, around 2015, they find out that they went on the wrong intel. The Taliban had actually not been training Osama. It's Pakistan that had been doing that.
Now on that point, where actually they train, I want us to go for a short break. When we come back, as we wind up this whole thing, we paint a picture. I want you to paint for me a picture of a normal Afghan in there, because from evidence, what I know is I have Afghans here and I have Afghans in Rwanda who flee. So I want to know, or I want to paint a picture of the one who stayed. What exactly is going on in their brain after the break? Now, do not touch your dial. We're still in Salama Road, Munyonyo, and we're live. Yes, you are still on the Muslim channel, powered by the didnt Broadcasters Studio. We're broadcasting live here in Munyonyo on Salama Road. Now, are you interested in Muslim politics? You better sit back, relax, better lean forward, or even stand up, because this week's Week in Focus has 10 minutes to go, and we are trying to understand. After the 51 Afghans that flee for asylum here in Uganda, what are the remaining Afghans thinking? Is education as normal? Is business moving on as normal? Are marriages going on as normal? Is family going on as normal? Not with the president being in State House on TV with guns. What's going on in there? What's happening?
I'm going to give you an example of something that happened earlier this year. The Afghan parliament passed a law that girls above the age of 12 are not allowed to sing in public.
Sing in public?
Yes. They are not supposed to raise their voice in public. How worse do you think the Taliban can get? Because we are working under the guise that the Afghan women have actually been enjoying rights. But these happen to be Middle Easterners that have a culture that does not put women on the level that we have Western women on. Few of them are in politics. Few of them are allowed in stadiums to watch football.
Aja, let me understand your narrative. Government put in place by the Americans comes out this year and says, hey, you're not supposed to come out and sing. Not the Taliban, the government.
Yes. It's the Ashraf Ghani parliament that passed that law.
Yeah.
We are not going to sit here and assume that Arabs recognize the rights of women as an inherent issue. If there is a country in Arabia that does that, they have done that by learning the 20th and 21st century politics. And let's not kid ourselves. Even countries like Uganda and the USA that are recognizing women's rights, it's a movement that started in the 1900s, in the 20th century. So if we can have countries that moved step by step, say America from 1600, that's the 17th century, they have made the progress they have made because they grew internally as them. Why are you having a force that is forcing Afghans to transform from what you have done in 400 years? It does not make sense. It is imposition. It is unfair. I think the West owes it to the world to stop imposing their democratic policies on people. I'm not a neoliberal myself, I'm a conservative. But I do not believe in the Taliban kind of politics. I don't believe that people should be pressed to that level.
But someone listening to you would think you actually want, because because when the Americans say, hey, okay, we are coming, we influence as much as we can, we only want safety, do what you want to do.
They did not want safety. They wanted to shatter Al-Qaeda. They wanted the people they suspected of having supported Osama to get out of power. Now, why didn't Americans begin with themselves? Because they are the ones that actually trained Osama. Do we ever ask ourselves that question? Do we take time to internalize that America is in a mess that they created themselves? You didn't have to train the Mujahideen to fight the Soviet Union because the Afghan government of 1978 was friendly to the Soviets.
But you know, we can sing the genesis of this.
Let me finish.
Okay, go on.
So these are two governments, Soviet Union and Afghanistan, dealing together. They have a friendship pact. You fly in to destabilize them with that, so you support a group of people. You give them guns, you give them money, you give them training, you give them an education. 10 years later, the war is done, it ends. Now when that ends, these are fighters. The only thing they know how to do is hold guns and fight. Now the war they have been fighting is done. They are going to fight. They can't go to the market. They are not traders. They know how to fight. So they fight. They take over government. Osama is a Yemeni. He cannot be in Afghanistan, but still he has his issues with you because you broke agreements. So he takes out to attack you. Which has its own conspiracy theories, by the way. And then because of Osama, you attack the Taliban, whom you trained, remember. Now, you attack the Taliban on the wrong intel provided by Pakistan. Now, after that...
Do we know it's wrong?
Was it right? Because, no, this is the hypothesis. Some are saying that it's wrong. America is saying that it's right. But when you kill Osama, 9 years later, you find him in Pakistan with a compound, not in Afghanistan. What does that say? Because
the intel was wrong.
Osama is not stupid. You can't run from Afghanistan and you go to Uzbekistan or you go to Pakistan. These are neighbors. You run from there, go to Sudan. So if he was in Pakistan this whole time,
intel was wrong. So you know, the conspiracies can never end surrounding this Muslim politics and everything. But right now, what is going on? If these people flee and now are in Uganda and Rwanda, I'm so sure some are still want to fly if they had the opportunity. They want to leave the country.
They are actually still living.
Exactly. So where does this leave anyone who is not even a normal citizen that has nothing to do with your politics? I just want to live a life. I just want to have a family. I just want to be a trader.
But you see, citizens always make the mistake of assuming that they are not politicians. The politics that happen in a given country affect citizens in one way or another. Be your trading, because the security relies on them. You need the roads, you need a stable population, you need people with money. But for Afghans that are in Afghanistan, they have a choice to make. You either support the government in power, or you join the factions that are fighting. There was a bombing a few days ago. Islamic State claimed responsibility. It means that now you don't just have the Taliban. You have IS there. Then you have people that have been working with the American government.
Also still in there.
Yes, they are still fighting. You won the...
But they're overpowered. The Taliban overpowered them. Why are they...
No, they took the capital. The president fled. It does not mean that the people that had been... The 300,000 does not mean that they are out. Actually, the people people that have been evacuated don't even make 200,000. So it means that you have hundreds of thousands of people there that are in possession of guns, know what to do with them, and they don't agree with the Taliban.
The chaos that is going on, the chaos. Now we have the IS, we have the Taliban, now we have the remaining few remnant people that were with the US. The chaos going on, where does this leave the economics of the country?
Well, I think the economics of Afghanistan have been messed up right from the start, but I think now it's going to be better. I think that the Taliban can actually do a better job than a foreign-backed government.
Why, as we wind up this whole thing, why?
Because a foreign government can always go back. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter if they take 20 years, doesn't matter if they take 50. They will always go back. Second, the Taliban are community people. You see, forget the picture that the US paints. These are people's sons and daughters of Afghanistan that were fighting because they want a government of Afghans, led by Afghans, chosen by Afghans.
But even the Taliban have an opposition.
Yes.
It may not be Americans. There may be some people like, okay, you've delayed in power, I want to oppose.
Yeah.
So should these people also do like what the Afghans have, the Taliban have done? Don't you think that, yes, the intention is right, but the approach?
The approach to fighting?
The approach to oppose. There will always be an opposition.
Yes.
American influenced or not. Look at what's happening in Uganda.
But do you know an opposition somewhere or a government instead that does not have an imperial backing somehow, somewhere? Anywhere in the world.
All of them have imperialism.
Everywhere. If you looked at the Houthi rebels,
yeah.
if you looked at the Saudi government,
yeah.
even if you looked at a country as minute as Fiji, there is always a foreign element of backing. Even if you looked at America, theirs may not be foreign, but you have families like the Rothschilds and
they have always been pumping money. Yeah,
yes,
there's influence of a superior power.
You have corporatocracies influencing matters. So we cannot kid ourselves that we're not going to have influences.
Right. Sooner
or later, the Taliban is going to get allies. You can think of Russia, you can think of China, you can think of North Korea, you can definitely think of Iran.
We cannot exhaust this in these 30 minutes, but as we wind up, is Uganda safe for taking an action? Because what they're doing is they're putting risk of life at the altar of business, maybe aid. I would even want to call it greed, because you're going to get aid. But you're opening up the country to the Taliban to come for us. I as a person, I wouldn't want to have to be on that hit list of any other terrorist. Nothing. I don't want. After the Chad Dondo that shook us, I don't need anything like that. Where does this leave everyone?
First of all, to be fair, the Afghans in Uganda are not actually called refugees. They're called evacuees. If you have seen Somali communities before, they can be around for a year or two, and then you see registration coming, and they normally take them to the US. That's the plan. That's what I read. That's what Hilary Onek said. That is what JJ Odong said. But I actually do think that the Taliban, now that they have a country to run, wouldn't really waste resources in attacking a country like Uganda for hosting 51 Afghans.
Can you ever determine or predict the mind of a terrorist?
I actually don't find it fair describing the Taliban as terrorists.
Why?
Because what makes them a terrorist is someone that instills fear to gain political power. Now you have the Taliban, for example, and you have Islamic State. If you look at the activities of both, they're actually different.
Who is better?
The Talibans are better. Because the Talibans have a country, the Talibans are Afghans. The ISIS on the other state, actually originally it was ISIS, the Islamic State of Syria and Iraq, but then they progressed. They threw factions. That's why you see there is a Nusrat, that's why you have a Boko Haram, that's why you have, they are several. But and you don't really get to hear that the Taliban has blew himself. Now,
what actually, my producer set me up to have the Taliban PR on set. But our time is really well spent. We'll have to wind it up here. Thank you very much for talking to us. I took your job. It's been lovely interviewing you. Good night. Good luck. Adios.
Ciao.